The second round of voting in May. The French go to the polls first on April the 23rd, and then they vote again, the final two in the runoff on the 7th. He's expected in this runoff to face Marine Le Pen of the National Front. Polls suggest that Madame Le Pen could well be first in the first round, but would then lose in the second round to Mr. Macron, though, as we know, polls are not always to be counted on in today's politics. This morning, the European Parliament has voted to lift Marine Le Pen's immunity from prosecution after she previously tweeted 3 graphic pictures of Islamic State violence. We're joined now by the National Front MEP, Bruno Gollnisch. He's in Brussels. Welcome to the programme. Why did your leader feel it necessary to tweet these gruesome images of the Islamic State?
Gruesome is the word, yes, it's perfectly right, but she did it because there was a hostile French journalist who compared Daesh, the ISIS, the Islamic, these Islamic terrorists, to Front National, to our party. So Marine Le Pen sent pictures that anybody can find on Google or on the internet, and there's these three awful pictures, gruesome, that's true, and said, well, this is the behavior of these people. If she did that, it's absolutely obvious a child will understand this, but apparently not some French judges or prosecutors. A child will understand that she did that with the purpose of condemning these atrocities.
Do you think is anybody in France still in doubt about how gruesome Islamic State is? You mentioned child. I don't think you would want a child to see these pictures, but of course on Twitter you can pretty much see them. Why do this? No sensible person is in any doubt how barbaric Islamic State is.
But there is at least one people who was in doubt. It is Mr. Bourdain, a very well-known and hostile journalist. Most of your colleagues, by the way, in France are towards us, who in a very unfair comparison try to compare and to associate our party, which is perfectly legal, peaceful, and to these awful crimes.
Well,
so that was an answer. That was an answer to Mr. Bourdain.
And that may be unfair. Others will decide on that. But in terms of bizarre comparisons, your leader has compared the European Union and globalization to Islamic State and Islamic fundamentalism. I mean, in the Department of Absurd Comparisons, that's up there with some of the top ones, isn't it?
No. She said that there are 2 kinds of globalism, but we perfectly know that European Union and, economical globalism doesn't behave the same way as Islamic State. But there are 2 kinds of main globalism in this world. And so there is a place to defend peacefully and legally national independences, national identities, through European identity, European civilization.
She called for the fight against 3 tyrannies. The 3 tyrannies were globalization, Islamic fundamentalism, and the European Union. She called the European Union a tyranny.
Yes, the fact that we called for fighting, these 3 terms doesn't mean that we pretend that they behave exactly the same way. It's obvious.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Mr. Gollnisch, not on your policy. I hope we will have more time to speak to you as the French elections, as the campaign gathers pace. But who would you, in your interest, who would you rather face in the runoff, Mr. Fillon or Mr. Macron? Who do you think would be the better one to beat?
It's a good question, but well, it's the French people to decide who will come first among all these, the two first among all these candidates. But I think the most significant, I don't think the easiest, the most significant will be a second round between Mrs. Le Pen and Mr. Macron, because
you think it is Mr. Macron now? You think Mr. Fillon's not going to make it?
Mr. Macron is very much, how to say, he represents really globalist forces, financial interests, opening the borders to all influx of people, of goods, of funds. And Mrs. Le Pen will defend national independence and national identity. So this will be very significant. But, well, if it is Mr. Fillon, we will fight peacefully and legally against Mr. Fillon and their friends, so-called conservatives. But they did not conserve anything.
All right. But just finally, Mr. Goldnish, if it is Mr. Fillon, and of course you will be facing Mr. Fillon in the first round of elections, he is under some trouble for allegedly paying or taking 900,000 euros of state money for a fake job for his wife and other members of his family. The EU's anti-fraud office is insisting Marine Le Pen repays 300,000 euros of misused money from the European Parliament. Is she going to repay that before polling day?
No, she will not repay a single penny. And as for, in my case, for example, they will take the money without any trial, without even giving her nor giving me the result of this so-called inquiry. You know, this office, OLAF, is a branch, in fact, of the European Commission. And the fact is that they are now trying to make trouble to all people who disagree with what we call Euroglobalism. In your country also, UKIP, for example, is under the scrutiny by this.
All right.
But this is political prosecution.
I hear your point.
Everybody knows it here.
We've run out of time, but as I say, I hope we get a chance to talk to you more as the presidential campaign.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.